looks like we're starting right now.
What makes this a little extra exciting is that even if Jupiter wins this 2 out of 3, there will be another finals to follow because cemo hasn't had a chance for a true double elim at that point.
So neither player gets the base Larmanep and is just walking down the zombies. And we have Blue Soul at the top of the room that could be Flying Armor or Black Panther.
Let's hope for Flying Armor. I don't want a first room Panther, that's just rude.
Yeah, it happens a lot though. Okay, Flying Armor. I do much prefer that start because then you get to see the cow room damage boost a lot of the time, and that trips a lot of players up.
Well, see, funny about that is that for the last dozen or so races, we actually haven't seen anyone attempt the damage boost. It's just been solo Flying Armor jump that kill the X armor and proceed, so I really wonder which one's more reliable.
I think that damage boosting is pretty quick and reliable if you have a good setup for it. But I think a lot of people have not practiced it that much, or I'm not quite sure. There's a variety of different setups I see though too.
Ooh, the dreaded Basilisk Soul. What do you think they're feeling right now?
They're just hoping they don't have to use that. Although in all fairness, if they count their hits well, so they know where the damage point is, they don't have to do that much fighting with it.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Basilisk reduces the damage that you both deal and take. And we're pretty good at the game by this point, so we're not too worried about most of the damage that we take, especially in a fight as scripted as Graham. And just doing less damage is not fun. Anyway, we are going to see that cow room coming up fairly quick here, and I've noticed that the damage boost, you've got a very wide range of both frames and pixels, but when you come to just the standalone jump with Flying Armor, it's practically pixel perfect.
Yeah, that's incredibly hard playing jump. Like myself, I've done it before, but not very well or many times.
Look how smooth Jupiter takes the damage boost there.
Yeah, that's
no big deal.
Beautiful. That's how I like to do it too. You get that jump across there, you barely spend much time at all waiting for the axe, because if you start running too early, the axe will despawn off the left side of the screen.
That's what happened to cemo right there.
Yeah. You kind of need to stop and wait just a moment for the axe to get a little bit farther into the cycle before you start going across. So you have a much larger range, I believe, on the right side if you go to the bottom right and check that item and come back up there.
That is how I've done it. Plus, if you accidentally let the axe armor get too far away, it's actually faster to just sleep and try again. Chat also does have a very good point. Jupiter's had a lot of matches recently, and cemo has been waiting a while to have some competition that could be in Jupiter's favor.
I mean, that could be a case of both of them too. I've been noticing, I've been thinking Jupiter's been playing a little bit differently on a few of these recently. I've been thinking he's been a little more cautious in regards to picking up equipment. Like, especially in a really recent one, was it versus Polar Actors, I think, where I was really surprised that he didn't reset out the gardens, just because there's no progression there, and he got some decent equipment, but still, I just remember earlier in this, in just races I've seen in general, he's usually really aggressive towards the, if there's no progression, just reset out of areas.
And it's strange to see that kind of a change now, because generally I would assume this late in the stage you'd be making as many cuts as you can, but we've definitely seen lots of races come down to the gear. The difference between a Rahab sword and a Levitate became very apparent.
Okay, so Gravekeeper, this is really nice from both speeding things up and making the gameplay more technical standpoint.
We're already seeing a little bit of backdash there for some easy movement gain.
Yeah, because this will overall just make your movement across flat ground a lot faster if you do it right, but it's quite difficult to continuously do it without screwing up. But Jupiter, I highly doubt would have any problems with this. I've seen him do tons of it, and he does it when he does like any percents and a couple other categories I've watched him run.
Yeah, Jupiter's done a good job of staying at the head of most of the leaderboards, and it really is incredible. Just watching this blade dancing, it makes it look so easy. I've tried. I've really tried. It does not look like that when I'm doing it.
I actually find the blade dancing a little bit easier than the canceling without backdash canceling without the blade jump, just because you aren't like jumping your thumb back and forth across the D-pad constantly.
I guess it gives you a little more room to play, which is kind of nice. But then you're restricted to using those early weapons, which you don't want to have to use. So it's not much of an option when you say, I don't know, you're wielding Balmung, because all of a sudden it's an option.
Okay, so now we get double jump for Jupiter.
I expect this means we will not be seeing Study for a while.
Yes, I expect we'll be teleporting back towards the beginning of the game and doing some checks there.
So what do you think the odds are here? 50-50 that Panthers and Study?
I don't know. There's some other progression. Is this gonna be Slide or something? It was
Galamoth, alright.
So,
If we do see Slide, that's going to make for some very nice routing in the top left of the castle.
I'm expecting we're probably going to see some really early inner quarters.
Makes sense as the first check, yep.
Because there still could be Black Panther as the anti-soft block item for Headhunter, which is always a good check with the current items, just as well as being able to do that Galamoth check, just because the way these things flow. Getting progression items tend to lead to areas that get more progression items.
So chat knows that particular check in the very, very top of Chapel is considered illogic, because in this randomizer, you're guaranteed to start with Winged Skeleton, and it is always accessible, even though it's difficult.
And yeah, while there are other checks that can be fairly easily hit, especially slide checks, that you can like stick a blade into or throw Winged Skeleton at the right angle. I believe that one at the top of Chapel is the only one which is actually considered to be in logic by hitting it without being able to stand on it.
I believe you are right. I was a little surprised that the breakable floor in inner quarters doesn't operate the same way, because you can hit that with Winged Skeleton. It's just incredibly difficult. Not getting that Malphas, it can be painful, but there's a chance that it's going to drive cemo into another progression that we won't see, because Jupiter didn't really pick up anything that I noticed in Manticore Room. Milliken Sword is really nice to have here. Cockatrice also works as well, just for getting that stone on Manticore. It's a really laughable fight when you can petrify it.
Yeah, I always forget you can do that, but we saw it on both players here.
Although via different methods, and I really like that.
Surprised to see Jupiter heading down. Did I miss something?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Undine's right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that.
So Cemo will be picking that up. Oh wait, not without Malphas. It could be a little bit before we see Cemo pick that up, because I believe it was the bottom, the left side check in the top part of the Manticore area.
Okay, so in that case, Headhunter is probably going to have Undine as well. but it will still be a pretty good check considering that Galamoth was so early.
Very good use of a reset there by Jupiter, not having to waste that walk out of the reservoir.
Cemo is continuing through study.
I like getting to see study for a change. This never happens.
You mentioned Malthus before. You said that. Were you saying that Cemo didn't get it?
Cemo did not get the winged skeleton hit for Malthus in the top of Chapel. Oh,
Okay.
there's Skula.
That makes sense because I'm not seeing him using it.
This is why I'm thinking that obviously there's going to be something else here. There's got to be something in study, I'm sure of it. And with any luck, it's Panther, and Cemo will be able to make up that difference, not getting Malthus early. It'd be interesting. This is one of the biggest divergences you can see here. Malthus opens up so many things.
I wouldn't really expect there being more down in study just because there's been so much progression there, opening other areas, and you really don't tend to see that much stockpiling happen in this.
Well, without getting Malthus, we don't pick up Undine.
So Jupiter's going up into Garden.
A very normal play for Jupiter. Only Milliken's sword's a bit concerning.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a fine check. I just would have expected him to take up the Galamoth there.
Follow the logic, yeah, that makes sense.
Because there easily could be Fly or something up there, and he could do Garden and Clock Tower backwards, which is definitely a play he likes. Oh, we saw the glitch sprite on the floating platforms, which generally indicates that there's a mimic in an area that mimics don't display well in. So he deduced that was a mimic without actually seeing the mimic.
It's really strange to know that that can happen in the first place. It does not make much sense to me. Obviously, they programmed rooms with mimics in them and drops, but I guess they had to special code the rooms that have mimics?
Yeah, I have no idea what the situation is with that, especially in the chapel, where you can have, if you have two mimics of different colors both in the same room, it will cause the bells not to spawn.
Which unfortunately logic does not account for, so that can be difficult to say the least.
Yeah, I've definitely seen seeds before that logically weren't completable, but could be completed out of logic because the progression was up there and you couldn't get through the bells.
Yeah, Jupiter happily switching to the Vijaya here. Very nice multi-hit weapon. I think that's it for our study checks. Cemo has to go back and pick up Malthus now. That's not gonna feel good. To confirm for Kuchiri though, we are not using Fuse's Rando. This is the Abyssinum version.
Yeah, this is the Abysm one is the one the whole tournament is been on.
Although the SG Live tournament coming up in November, which there's lots of time to sign up for, will likely be using your version, Fuse. How are you feeling about that?
Really nervous.
Well, you've got lots of playtesters that are eager for seeds. We definitely like the changes you've made to earlier starts, having a random red soul, picking your option for Panther. Maybe we can include that.
There's a lot of mixed things. I mean, there's definitely some stuff that I really like the starting soul Rando, and there's quite a variety of how some of the seeds turn out. Some of them work out reasonably well in regards to regression placement, and there's more than a few that proceed to go stockpile stuff in the study. Okay, Cemo found Panther. That is huge. Because Jupiter likely won't be back there for a while.
Alright, so I said 50-50, but I think these seeds have taught us that it was pretty much 90-10.
90 seems a little excessive, but there definitely are quite a few that...
I will admit it's definitely an exaggeration, but I think very consistently, as of late at least, Panther has been in study. Or sometimes we just haven't found it.
So yeah, this will be really interesting as it turns out, because Jupiter had a much better start than cemo here, because cemo missed double jump and is now backtracking through the entirety of study. Not even able to get to that teleport point up in the upper left to back out that way, unless he's intentionally going, knowing what he missed. That's possible too.
With an ability soul, you're going to want to pick that up. You definitely don't want to skip it, especially under the possibility, like, cemo could be petrified that it's Hippogriff, who knows. Yeah, so we're going back up to check that. If this is an underwater seed, cemo's going to have way more time to catch up.
So yeah, once cemo gets his double jump, he'll be moving a lot faster than Jupiter for probably quite some time.
I would expect it's quite likely the entire seed. We didn't find anything else down there, really, unless it was the odd canister.
We haven't seen any books yet, I believe, so there's a good chance they will need to be trekking around underwater. So cemo will have a lot of time to make up time before Jupiter ends up back in study. Because I would expect Jupiter will also end up over in inner quarters doing the checks there, because he has Galamoth before he goes down underwater. And we just got a reset from Jupiter there. Thought Death, decided there was nothing of value. Except what's in that room. Oh, Death's robe was in there. Okay, so he's going back for that.
So this is the kind of thing that I failed to consider, and probably why I didn't make it as far. I mean, judging the value of having to go back and collect that item versus just walking out is something very difficult for me to pick up on.
Okay, so cemo is going to inner quarters like I expected that Jupiter would. And cemo just picked up an Assalon.
So not picking up Malphus that first time is doing exactly what I suggested, so it's kind of sending them in different directions. Whether it pays off or not, we'll honestly have to wait and see. There's really no telling this early, but the divergence is huge.
Well, if cemo did get Malphus the first time, he might have ended up going up there to inner quarters anyway.
But not in a study to grab Panther.
True. So it may have helped him, but he still likely would have gone in the same direction eventually here, I think.
Does Hammer have anything today? Probably not. A Satan's Ring and a Vijaya, that's about it.
And Jupiter goes out there to collect Death Robe for the third time. After,
it's worth picking up.
Oh, definitely.
You know, at least Jupiter earned it. We did take down Death, so we have the right to wear that robe. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Skula was in Castle Corridor, but in the check towards Dance Hall, and cemo didn't go pick that up. I guess just wanted to stay in the inner quarters. This could slow things down a little bit.
I don't remember exactly where that was placed. Inner quarters somewhere?
I thought it was the Castle Corridor check to go towards Dance Hall, the one item that's in that room. I'm pretty sure that's where Skula was.
That makes sense, because cemo couldn't have gotten up to that yet when he went past there, right?
Well, we have Malthus and Black Panther. That easily covers the distance.
Yeah. I guess I've just mixed up with exactly when cemo found his panther. I mean, not panther, Malthus.
There's a rune ring. That's a happy find. This will allow us to generate a lot more MP. So if we find any useful bullet souls, the red souls, then we'll be able to use them a lot more often. Or heaven forbid we pick up a rush soul.
Looks like cemo is gonna see what Headhunter has for us probably first.
So you're saying Undine, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say this is a dupe of Panther just to even things up.
It could be either way, because we don't know exactly which was placed in the study or chapel first, because I'm not sure that Panther would have opened anything else up. So it could be, in which case the advantage for cemo isn't as great as I was thinking it was.
Well, we'll be finding out really fast as both players take this route.
There we go, you're right. It is Panther. That actually evens things up quite a bit then.
I feel it puts things back in Jupiter's favor because they're in more or less the same place, except Jupiter's already checked both Floating Gardens and Clock Tower.
Yeah, true, but he didn't find anything there either.
Well, I was going to say Death's Row, but Dracula's Tunic is just as fine, so you're absolutely right. Kuturi says Curly was found in Floating Gardens. I didn't notice that. I don't doubt it. But as unlikely as that is to make a difference, that it could.
I do remember seeing curly text pop up, so that is a good point. But, I mean, they both have areas they've checked that the other hasn't, like Jupiter's checked Gardens and Clock Tower, and cemo has checked all of Study, which Jupiter hasn't been to at all.
But also, cemo hasn't found Skula, so the urge to go underwater is not going to be as much. I think for a little longer we're going to see Jupiter take the lead on where to check here, because it's very unlikely Jupiter's going to go to Study now.
Yeah, Jupiter, I think, is much more likely to go underwater after this. And cemo gets a succubus drop. That could be useful.
So with players as experienced as this, do you think Jupiter already realizes that Black Panther was in Study?
He could be considering it. I mean, if he explicitly is thinking about it, about where it could have been, Study is easily a place that you suspect. I don't think he would have suspected that cemo would have gone to Study, though.
No, definitely not that. But I think the options at that point is that Panther's either in Study or in Dance Hall. Those would be the only other options because of the way that Headhunter places souls.
Okay, so cemo just got a Devil's drop. I mean, pick up from a Soul Candle. So there are 2 in logic rush souls.
This heavily implies that one of those is going to be required for our blue book. I'm interested to see if that comes up too.
There's the red book, which is Blight Lock.
Wait, did cemo skip Undyne? That wouldn't make sense with Black Panther and Study.
I don't remember where Undyne was at this point.
Undyne was in below the teleporter room in Manticore area.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have Slide now, but that doesn't change much.
Well, it does bring some of the dance hall checks into logic.
It'll be a long time before we see Dance Hall, and Jupiter might already be thinking about that as well because of two of the races that happened. We had Skula in Dance Hall. Granted, we already have Skula this time, but that could change how we feel about it.
Is that a second copy of Basilisk?
That was a second copy of Basilisk. This does not make sense to me.
Well, it could be.
Given that you've written your own, is there a duplicate? Like, is there a possible duplicate placement of souls?
I don't know exactly how it works in this one, but I mean, it's plausible to me that like it placed it as a Drac soul, and then as a random extra soul as well.
Wait, this is 2 canister basilisks we have in this scene, and I feel bad for talking about it when the first one came up because I know Commentator's Curse is real, but this is very likely a basilisk seed. Was it a drop soul? Okay, maybe it was just in the same room then. Either way, I'm terrified. They both have they both will have 2 copies of Basilisk.
Well, another place we should be looking out for is where right below where cemo is right now. That's going to be a slide locked area. That could have something as well.
cemo has slide now. We did pick that up.
But I'm just saying, as opposed to like talking about dance hall, there easily could be something down here. Nope, just mistletoe.
It's not a bad weapon to have, but they have some pretty good options right now.
See, it definitely would not surprise me to see one of the dance hall checks, slide lock checks have something. Or of course, there's also that one in the arena, which nobody likes navigating those Medusa heads.
We got the slide check in Study. It was either the pitch black suit or Olrox's suit. I don't think there's a difference in the image, but it was definitely one of those 2. We don't have flight or kicker skeleton, so there's nothing to worry about in that dance hall ceiling.
Oh, and cemo almost makes it up that climb.
Approaching from the right is so much more difficult. I find just ducking and taking the one hit is easier.
Alright, so you got that teleport unlocked on his second try.
Jupiter undoubtedly gonna pick up that mistletoe as well. Yeah, here we go. Oh,
nope,
sees it, but takes it away.
He's using a Vijaya, right? So, what's he want a mistletoe for?
I would expect both players will go to Arena. We generally view that going to Legion is a trap. On the occasions where something... Whoa, passing on the Satan's Ring.
Well, they found a Rune Ring already, right?
Yeah, I guess we do have a Rush Soul to use with it. That's really the only combination I would pass up on that for. It'd still be nice to... I don't know, I'm a big fan of Satan's Ring. That's a huge damage boost for any sort of weapon.
Hippogriff in forbidden area that's easily accessible outside.
Oh no, cemo. This seed is just not stacking up for cemo. Jupiter has made a lot of really good plays. It was tied up twice, and it's... Flight could make the difference. Maybe there's something in Arena, though. Who knows? That whole back and forth could happen again.
Yeah, I totally get why cemo wouldn't go up there yet if he couldn't get the items up top or get in. You say he didn't get Undyne?
Chat is suggesting he didn't get Undyne, but I can't imagine why cemo would have skipped it.
Ooh.
There's book 3. Is it Basilisk? It's Basilisk!
Jupiter heading to the top floor.
Well, I mean, it's a really smart choice when you get flight.
Oh, certainly. You gotta go through there anyway, so. Giant Bat is up there. Meaning, Giant Bat will not be where cemo is hanging out.
Either way, cemo knows for sure now. Not that we had any doubts, Basilisk is our soul free, plus Final Sword. That's a really good find when we already have backdash.
Definitely. That does a lot of damage very quickly.
I will be surprised if cemo does not use that for Baylord.
Not sure what cemo's doing there. He turned backdash off and put it back on for a moment. Or maybe it was just a wrong menu he went into.
Maybe a misclick on making sure what souls we have. It could be a few things. Glad it's back on, though.
But yeah, cemo skipping CDR room there.
It's such a long check. It takes more time than Baylor does, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely a long check if you don't have Giant Bat.
I mean, these double hits on Baylor with Final Sword, they have to feel real good. Jupiter going for Forbidden?
Interesting play because he already got progression from Forbidden without actually going into it.
Wait, so has Jupiter looked at Book 1? I know we have it, but have we looked at it?
Yeah, he looked at it. I didn't catch what it said, unfortunately. Okay, so he's going for the reverse study.
Chat says it lives by the shore. I'm going to check this real quick. That would be Merman, which we already have. So Book 1 is Merman, Book 3 is Basilisk. Where is Book 2? And is it Devil or is it Curly? I know that's not guaranteed. One of them could have been Forbidden Area access, one of them could have been a random soul, but the odds are really good in our favor here.
This is where cemo would tend to guess in a lot of cases, but he doesn't have flight, so he couldn't if he wanted to.
This really could put off getting Hippogriff for quite a while. Not having Undine, if that's the case, means that we likely won't be checking the entrance to Forbidden Area. We'll probably go to Dance Hall instead.
Oh, there's Book 2 right there.
Alright, so
cemo could head down to Legion as well. With the Final Sword, it's not a long check, especially Rush Soul and Final Sword with backdash.
I mean, there is a good group of item checks there. We just know that none of them are necessary. Assuming, of course, again, that Book 2 is either Curly or Devil, which I think there's a really good chance of.
There's a good chance, but it doesn't have to be. One of them could just be a random blue soul.
So this is one of those questions that ties in what we were talking about earlier as to whether or not Winged Skeleton changes things. Is that entrance to Forbidden Area check considered in logic because we have Winged Skeleton, or do we need to be able to access it?
The check behind the waterfall is not in logic until you can get behind the waterfall.
Good to know. So chat knows Black Panther cannot be a required soul, because in the original game, Black Panther was behind Graham.
So Jupiter did not like what he saw in Forbidden and reset out of there.
Was that a
It's the
Rahab sword we saw?
Sword.
Yeah. We'll skip that pretty happily right now. There's also no bestiary entry for Black Panther, which would have interfered with the way that this Rando was built. Has Cemo even looked at Book 2 yet?
Did Jupiter just get a... Okay, that must have been where the Black Panther drop was originally.
Yeah, well, I figured when Cemo was on the way out of study that we'd already skipped it, but forgetting that we didn't have Malphus at that time, it was something we had to go back for.
Yeah, because that particular place, like, you go down the one hallway, and there's, like, 2 hallways branching off of that. So, if you can't do if you don't have Malphus to do up the 2 falls of them, it doesn't make as much sense to head down there when you can't do all of it.
Alright, here goes Legion for Cemo, and I believe Cemo just equipped Succubus, so we're just gonna eat the damage that Legion does walking into us and gain, what, 25 back at a time while swinging away?
Yeah, this will go now 5 back at a time, right? What I'm seeing anyway.
5 per hit, yep.
I'm surprised he didn't start out with that Curly or Devil. He has Devil. We saw it in Arena when he went down the Red Minotaur hallway. And you
Probably just
run into
figuring
the wall there, and you do a heap load of damage before you even start swinging the sword.
Definitely good call, especially given we have Rune Ring as well. It's free damage, you're right.
Yeah, you get like 2/3 or 3/4 of Legion's HP knocked out before you actually have to fight him.
Kashiri is right that Cemo is not really in any danger either way. It's, I guess, a choice to make, but I feel like the Rush Soul would have been a little bit faster.
So last check in Legion coming up here, and like nothing of value is down there.
Jupiter getting a look at that blue book, and we know they're going back for it.
Kicker skeleton, Jupiter's resetting out of that. Okay, so I wonder if Cemo is thinking he missed something up in dance hall or something.
Alright, so really excited to see what that blue book says, because I'm pretty sure we know, but Jupiter's picking up book 3 right here. And I don't think this seed's going to take very much longer.
Alright, so it'd be interesting to see where Cemo teleports to. I'm kind of guessing back towards the beginning to head for dance hall, but
The dance hall makes the most sense, right? One check versus lots.
well, yeah. And Jupiter gets his book 2. Skeletal remains of dinosaur.
Isn't that White Dragon or something? Bone Pillar, that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay, so it's not one of the Rush Souls. But regardless, Jupiter's still checking stuff, so he's not yet in go mode.
Well, wait, why not? We've definitely picked up Merman. If Jupiter just also got Bone Pillar, and we know they both have Basilisk a couple of times over.
Okay, well I guess it's possible that maybe he's just finishing that last check right next to where he is now, looking for some better stuff. Got the
Better what though?
he doesn't have Final Sword like Cemo has, right?
Oh, that's right. Because we didn't go and finish the gauntlet. Cemo making really good use of that kicker skeleton to check the dance hall ceiling. I really enjoy that, even though we knew there was nothing there.
Yeah, it's interesting play, but it isn't in logic, which makes it probably a worse play here. Well, because there are two spots, and so one could be in logic and the other one could be like in a place that is light locked but isn't really light locked like that would be. But I would think when you're looking for light use, it's not the best odds. But I mean, he is like cleaning up at this point. He's checked most of what's not flight locked, so I guess it is what he needs to do to go finish clearing stuff.
Just Cemo's pain. It's gonna be a while before we realize that, oh hey, just outside Forbidden Area is that one spot we can get to. Oh wait, no, you have to find Undine first. We should have that.
He doesn't need Undine. Because he can just throw a spear right through the waterfall.
But it's just one less reason to go there. We don't have access otherwise. That's why Cemo didn't check it in the first place, because we couldn't get there even if we wanted to. As far as Graham's concerned, I have no doubt Jupiter's very comfortable by now with counting hits.
Graham part 1 is done. Using Athlon, that's pretty difficult when backdash canceling and not accidentally hitting those fireballs.
It's a very short range on it. So for anyone who wasn't here for the explanation when we first saw the Basilisk Soul, it reduces the damage you both take and deal. So
damage.
Yeah, well, this is a third of. Wait, sorry, what were we doing? 40? We were doing 40 before. This is a fifth of the damage that we were doing without having the Basilisk Soul on. Unfortunately, since it's one of the 3 souls we require to get to the good ending, it means sometimes we just have to do very little damage in order to get to the good end of the game, which is the objective of the race.
Okay, so Jupiter can now put his good gear back on.
Which is a relief. Now, if you were playing this seed, do you think you would have saved most of your MP to use Rush Souls during Phase 2?
By Phase 2, you mean what Jupiter's fighting right now, or?
No, I mean after Graham teleports to the middle of the room. At that point where you gotta have those souls on, I feel like a Rush Soul is gonna put out a lot more damage.
Well, you do have to have the right souls on, so, for that final part.
Yeah, of course. For some reason, I was thinking that it wasn't Bone Pillar, it was a Rush Soul. Of course Jupiter would have made that choice. This is why I would have lost this race. The lesson to take away is that Basilisk is a horrible, horrible thing to be required when fighting Graham, even though Jupiter made it look like it wasn't that big of a deal.
But in the more general sense of your question, for Phase 2, I really want just, what I'm comfortable moving around with, which is like a weapon that decent range that ground cancels.
Or at least something with multiple hits.
Well, dodging those fireballs is bigger concern to me anyway.
Yeah, well, Jupiter goes and fights Julius. Cemo will, I imagine, be finding Death's Robe. So I think the only thing we haven't seen in this seed is Forbidden Area. Not that there can be anything there.
No, it's Jupiter checked it.
Did I miss a whole Forbidden Area? Dang.
Yeah, because I mean, he got Hippogriff first, then he went up to the top floor and cleared that out. Then he saved somewhere and no, he didn't save yet. He went back. He teleported back down there and went up to and like backdoored into study. He he did unlock hammer, took a save, checked forbidden, and reset out of it.
It was a reverse study. That makes way more sense. Well, this is why I'm really glad that you and chat are here for me. I can't watch two games going on at the same time with Panther. It's too fast. I've said this before.
It is a really easy Julius fight for Jupiter because the range on that sword is just amazing. When you have backdash with it, you can just slam him and easily get away repeatedly with very little risk of taking damage.
You're absolutely right. Balmong is absolutely an incredible weapon. It's easily in my top 5. And as easy as Jupiter's having it with Julius, Cemo also just making rather quick work of Death with Curly. Or Devil, sorry, in this case. Curly really being the last one picked up.
Yeah, the final sword and a rush blow. Death doesn't really stand a chance.
Well, it wasn't really about taking too long to hit the canister for Cemo, it's that running out of MP means we have to wait a really long time even between spear throws with Winged Skeleton.
Even so, though, when you know it's a Grey Soul, it definitely deserves to have a greater time investment if necessary.
Well, I view it kind of the same as the top right exit of getting into Cow Room, right? As on the one hand, yeah, there's obviously something there, but there's also a good choice of ability souls that don't mean much for us. Backdash is nice, but it's not really required. Slide, more or less the same thing. It opens some things, but what are the odds we need that?
Yeah, but you still have much more restricted options of what it could be.
I'll happily grant the fact that there's a possibility it could be Hippogriff means you stay there until you get it. But I don't blame Cemo for leaving and just doing something else in the meantime.
But especially when you're at that early game point, and you know that there has to be progression somewhere in the upcoming room.
I know that we definitely wanted to know what that soul is, but if we even consider, let's say Headhunter had Undine and not Panther, this seed could still be a tight race. As much as you don't want to bank on that, there's a really good chance that Panther is in study, because it seems like, honestly, I know it's not true, but it feels like Panther's always in study. And if other things didn't line up the same way, it could have been a much different seed.
Yeah, and it makes sense in this case also when Panther and Undine were in study, that if Undine was placed first, Panther likely would not have been in study. it would have been somewhere blocked by being able to get up higher. Whereas Panther really doesn't put a whole lot into logic, especially if you have flying armor already. So
Jupiter having... Sorry, go ahead. Jupiter's having a really good time right now at Chaos with Tall Hammer.
And Cemo just got his Undyne. And he's going back down. He's going to have his Hippogriff anytime now.
Yeah, gonna pick up flight, gonna head straight to Grand. As Chad points out, for anybody who hasn't played this Rando, if you appreciate Castlevania games at all, honestly, this randomizer is incredibly smooth, and I cannot recommend it nearly enough.
Okay, so Cemo's got Hippogriff.
And should you enjoy it after trying it, I'd like to remind you there is an SG Live tournament coming up in November. Lots of time to practice and see how it feels.
So Cemo's got his book 1 now. That's probably... I'm guessing he's got book 3 also, right? Or maybe not.
Cemo picked up book 3
he's
first.
Got all 3 books. He probably has everything.
Must have everything.
I'm not entirely sure where one of those things was.
Basilisk was early, and I think we both picked up double copies. Bone
Yeah,
Pillar was an arena.
People cleared that already, I believe. So yeah, he's probably go mode.
How do you think Cemo is feeling right now with the way the seed played out?
He's probably feeling really bad about the start. He probably does not realize that Jupiter didn't get Panther as early as he did. He probably figures, you know, he took that long walk back to get Malphite when he knows Jupiter most likely got it early on.
Well,
So,
it wasn't so much of a long walk coming out with Panther. It still took some time, I'll grant that, but not quite that long. I absolutely agree, though. I think missing Malphite that early definitely had a bit of an impact, and I wish, honestly, we could just go back in time and then see how it would happen if Cemo had picked that up. Like, how would the routing have been different?
Okay, so Cemo is still looking for something, though.
Was Merman here in top floor, maybe? Valkyries are not playing nice. Oh, Jupiter taking a combo hit. Oh, that's painful. And Jupiter is done. That is game 1 of the grand finals in favor of JupiterClimb. And for anybody who enjoyed this, games 2 and 3, if needed, are scheduled for the same time tomorrow. That is 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, although as you can see, most seeds generally take a little less than an hour.
Yeah, they could easily go on over an hour, though, especially if nobody finds Panther. You get one of those ones with locked down in the arena and people don't quite have to end up going down there.
just determining if we see cemo continue here, but I get the feeling we are probably done for this race. I would imagine there is going to be quite a bit of practice before tomorrow's 8 p.m. Eastern Time race. That will be match 2 of 3 in the grand finals.
Zemo's talking about in chat how he forgot the timing to get the spear through into Malthus in the chapel.
I definitely agree with Chad here. Jupiter has to work really hard to win 2 out of 3, not once, but potentially twice. The work is definitely on Jupiter's side, cemo having already made it past the winners finals. I can't wait to see how the next race plays out. Alright, looks like cemo's all done for this one. Thank you guys very much for turning out for this installation of the Aria Randomizer Tournament 2020. Jupiter takes game 1 out of 3 in a best 2 out of 3 setup, out of potentially 2 in a row, just in case they oust cemo. Cemo's not had a loss yet. This is a true double elimination. If Jupiter wins another in the next 2, we will be seeing another best 2 out of 3. 2 of these matches are to happen tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern and 9:30 Eastern, one back to back. So if you only want to catch game 3, you might want to turn in a little bit early. And as per usual, if you enjoyed watching this race, please give both of our runners a follow. Again, as this is the grand finals, these players are about the best as it can get for Aria Randomizer. And if you liked watching it, maybe you'd like trying it. Not only is there a current version by SNM, but also a version in development since only earlier this year by my co-commentator Fuse, which has made some very nice changes we're all looking forward to. Any closing comments from you, Fuse?
Oh, it'll be interesting to see tomorrow's.
Well, you're definitely welcome to join in for co-coms once again, as per always. By the way, thank you so much for being here. It is so much more fun with you.
Alright, well, I might.
And for anybody else, again, definitely, once again, 8 p.m. Eastern Time will be when we see games 2 and 3, if necessary, tomorrow. Please try the game if you feel that you like it, and otherwise we will see you here again in less than 24 hours.